Yes, I mean, we're a totally volunteer-run museum. We've been going for 45 years. We are run by a management committee, but there's nothing else above that. So there isn't, strictly speaking, a board. The management committee are the trustees. And according to our current constitution, we can have up to 19 on that committee, which is a lot. We normally have about 13 or 14, which is what we've got at the moment. They are not strategic thinkers. They are involved with the day-to-day running of the museum. So really, we find that we are firefighting and looking after the museum and keeping it open and all the rest of it, but we're not looking ahead. And we do realise that we need to look ahead. So we needed some way of getting a mechanism so that we could look ahead and plan for the future. Well, we were very lucky to have Alex Lindley with us. And the first thing we did is explain about the size of things. And she was a bit horrified because generally boards should be about half a dozen, people reckon, rather than 19. One of the worries that our current committee members have is liability, because if you're not a company, if you're just a charity, then actually your trustees are liable for everything. We told Alex that we needed to address this. So she looked into the possibilities of becoming some sort of company, and she presented us with various options. We had a Zoom meeting and she presented a paper and then spoke to the committee members about these options. We decided that we would go for a charitable incorporated organisation. This is like a limited company for charities, but it is still fairly light touch. It is still only governed by the Charity Commission, not Company House. But it does get away from the idea of liability. It means that the trustee, within our constitution, we can say that the trustees have £1 liability or zero liability, which is what we wanted. It also will make the museum, it's actually Nidderdale Museum Society, it will make it a legal entity, which means that the society will hold the investments, the society will have the lease. So that then removes this problem of having individuals with big responsibility. We then started to look at the model constitution that the Charity Commission provide. Our current constitution was set up way back and obviously is out of date. So we needed to look at a new constitution. It makes sense to follow the model constitution, even though it's a bit horrifying because it's now about 35 pages as opposed to 2 or 3. It's a step-by-step approach, and that's almost as far as we've got because we only had 2 days with Alex. So she set us on the road and then we have to carry on ourselves. We've still got quite a lot of work to do. We're probably going to use a sort of tried and tested consultant who's worked with the Charity Commission before on doing these constitutions so that we can push through the model constitution, because we don't want it to hang around. I hear from people this can take 4 or 5 years and we don't want that. So if we can get that to push it through. We're also having some help from Museum Development Yorkshire. They're going to provide some sessions for our current committee members explaining what it is to be a trustee, what a board should be doing, how you think strategically, and so on. Because we need to reduce our numbers. We need to find the people who do want to look at the future and also have the ability to recruit some new members who have skills that we're lacking. So this lottery fund will let us appoint a project officer for 2 days a week and a trainee placement for 2 days a week, and some consultants to help along the way. So it's certainly exciting times. We haven't moved forward for the past 20 or 30 years. There was a lot of good work done initially when the museum was set up, absolutely amazing work. But not a lot has been done, I would say, probably in the last 20 years. And now I think is the time to move forward. I think it's very helpful to get somebody in from outside. I mean, I had read up about CIOs and so on. I was fairly happy in my own mind that I knew what we should be doing, but it's quite different to have somebody else come along to a committee meeting and explain to people rather than me say, I think you should do this. And then you get to trustees, of course, and it's like turkeys voting for Christmas because we have 13 or 14 people at the moment. We will probably go down to 7 or 8. So it's difficult in that respect. And then when you start saying, well, people should retire after every 3 years, you can see the look of horror, because you can see all the Zoom faces on the screen. And you can see the look of horror because most of the people on the committee have been on it for 20 or 30 years. So things like that really do need explaining. And again, to get outside people in to help is the way to do it, I think.